Welcome to the Turing Test. Today, we're diving deep into the rapid rise and even faster fade out of prompt engineering and how context engineering is taking over as the go-to skill in our AI-driven world.
I'm pumped for this discussion. So, what's the core shift here?
Well, the hype around prompt engineering really exploded like a six-figure frenzy 1 minute and then almost overnight dropped to
Yep.
right? According to recent numbers, search queries for prompt engineer have plummeted from 144 per million to about 25 per million.
That's a huge drop, isn't it? I mean, companies must be rethinking the role entirely.
Exactly. In fact, Microsoft's global workforce survey of 31,000 workers reveals that only 3% of employers see this job title as a hiring priority in the next 18 months. So, the whole bubble, well, definitely popped.
And it seems like the role was overhyped, even though people were penciling it on their resumes like crypto expert back in 2021.
Right, it's like everyone jumped on the bandwagon until the reality set in. But why did this happen so fast? There are three main reasons.
Let's break them down. What's the first reason?
The first reason is model maturity. Think about it. Models like GPT 4.0, Gemini 2.5, and Anthropic Claude 4 now autocorrect sloppy prompts. They ask clarifying questions almost like they're reading your mind.
Yeah.
Jared Spataro at Microsoft said it best. You don't have to have the perfect prompt anymore.
So, in other words, the AI itself is taking over the critical thinking part.
Precisely. And then reason two is about democratization. OpenAI's Free Academy rolled out in May 2025, and now even large companies like Nationwide Insurance are training every department on basic prompting. When everyone knows how to prompt, it naturally stops being a niche, specialized job.
It's like if everyone could bake bread, you'd stop hiring those artisan bread bakers exclusively.
Exactly, it becomes common sense. And then reason three is automation built right into the models. Meta's Llama Guard and OpenAI's prompt routers essentially rewrite or refine user inputs on the fly, so the heavy lifting gets done behind the scenes.
So, in a way, the AI is self optimizing, and we, as the users, don't need to do all the groundwork. Interesting.
Yep, which leads us straight into our next point, context engineering.
The so called new hot label for 2025. What's that all about?
It's like this: prompting is evolving into context engineering. This isn't just about giving a single instruction anymore. It's about designing dynamic systems that mix retrieved docs, function calls, user histories, guardrails, and even memory into one cohesive sky-high control panel.
Right? Like digital product management for AI brains. So basically, you're architecting the entire environment in which the AI operates, not just telling it what to do.
Exactly. It's like moving from writing a one-liner command to designing the entire roadmap for an AI's journey. The LangChain blog defines it perfectly as designing dynamic systems that deliver the right info, tools, and constraints so an LLM can nail a task.
That's a massive leap. But wait, don't you think that even if context engineering is the new frontier, basic prompt literacy is still important?
Absolutely, it is. Think of it like email etiquette. Just because everyone knows how to write a decent email doesn't mean we're all becoming email engineers. Everyone needs AI fluency as a table stake, but it stops there.
Got it. I do wonder, though, could there be a risk that while we're shifting our focus, we might undervalue the basics? I mean, without a solid foundation in prompting, won't the advanced stuff fall apart?
That's a fair challenge, but consider it this way. Basic prompting is no different than knowing how to use a smartphone. Once you've mastered that, you can then learn to manage apps, integrate systems, and eventually lead digital projects. It's a progression.
I see. So the foundational skills just serve as the starting line. That makes sense.
Exactly right. And if you want to future-proof your career, there are some concrete steps to take. First, dive into retrieval-augmented generation. Knowing how to integrate vector databases or SharePoint repos into an LLM is becoming critical.
Yep, this sounds like the new version of learning the fundamentals. And what's next on the list?
Next up, mastering tool invocation frameworks is key. Whether it's with OpenAI functions, Google's App Actions, or apps like LangGraph, you need to orchestrate calls and functions, not just type words. It's like, well, coordinating an orchestra as opposed to just playing a single note.
That's a neat analogy. You're not merely a musician, you're the conductor of the entire AI ensemble.
Exactly. And then there's studying governance and security. With context engineering, there's a real risk of leaking sensitive data or falling victim to prompt injections. So, having a grip on AI security is becoming more of a necessity than a nice to have skill.
Definitely. And lastly, you mentioned evaluation loops. What does that entail?
Right, evaluation loops refer to the practice of treating LLM responses like code, testing, logging, and iterating until you ship reliable features. MIT Technology Review highlighted that teams who adopt these loops end up with far more robust AI systems.
Yeah, that reminds me of agile development cycles. So basically, the future isn't about a static job title, it's about evolving continuously with smarter models and systems.
Absolutely. The prompt engineer might now sound like a relic of an earlier phase, but the skills remain relevant. They're just
It's fascinating how quickly this landscape is changing. Do you think in a few years we'll have entirely different titles and roles?
I wouldn't be surprised. As models keep getting smarter, the focus is shifting to all-encompassing roles like digital orchestration of data and context, which may be a mouthful, but paints the picture perfectly.
Totally. While I understand the momentum, I'd respectfully challenge one point. Isn't there a risk that by focusing too much on context engineering, we may undervalue creative prompting, which still sparks innovative AI outputs?
That's a valid critique. However, I'd argue that creative prompting will always be important, but it will, over time, merge into context engineering. Think of it as the artisanal craft part blending with industrial design. Both are crucial, but serve in different layers of the process.
Right, that makes sense. So, in essence, it's about expanding the scope rather than discarding the core skills.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. It's like evolving from learning Excel formulas to managing complex financial systems. Basic skills are just the launching pad for tackling more comprehensive projects.
What a journey. From the bubble of prompt engineering hype to a more integrated, nuanced approach to AI interaction.
Absolutely. And if you ask me, the future-proof path involves embracing retrieval, mastering tool invocations, enforcing solid governance, and continuously running evaluation loops.
Deeply practical steps. I love how this entire conversation emphasizes that while titles and labels change, what really matters is the evolution of underlying competencies.
Yes. And that's what makes this era so exciting. The same skills are transforming and creating opportunities for those ready to adapt. It's definitely a call to action for anyone wanting to stay relevant in the fast-paced AI world.
And those listening should take note. Brushing up on the basics is only the start. You need to expand your technical toolbox with these new, more advanced concepts.
Absolutely right. And as we wrap up our deep dive today, remember that surviving the hype cycle isn't about clinging to outdated titles. It's about growing with the technology and continuously upgrading your skill
Yeah,
set.
exactly. Thanks for the enlightening discussion. I feel even more prepared to navigate this evolving landscape.
My pleasure. And thanks to everyone for tuning in to the Turing Test. Keep evolving, keep learning, and keep engineering context in your work.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and drop in some thoughts on how you're future proofing your skills. Until next time.